This year we should have been bringing our 14th production to the Buxton Fringe, but as we all know, everything has now been put on hold. So what we thought we would do is to use this opportunity to give you an insight into some of the other things that we get up to during the year when we're not with you in Buxton.
There's loads of places you can go to. There's loads of places to drink, importantly, which is really, really helpful in Buxton because there's lots of time for drinking in between the flyering and performing and going to watch the stuff, other stuff as well. The old clubhouse is somewhere which a lot of our company are always sort of, at least one of us will be around there, which is quite nice. You know, if you've done a load of flyering on your own, or you've been up and watched something on your own, and you sort of, you don't know where anyone else is. You just walk to the clubhouse and someone is going to be there, either sitting down, having a coffee or having a beer, or they'll be upstairs watching something, or they'll be flying outside by the opera house. There's always going to be someone around by the clubhouse. But there's another place which is sort of quite special to us, like at Sudden Impulse, which is we've been going the last few years to the Lone Star, it sort of does Mexican food. And it's sort of become a last night tradition, really. We go there after all the shows are done that we've done. We perform them all, and it's our last night before we go home on the Sunday. And we all have a lot of really nice food and one too many cocktails, and we get a bit silly and we get a bit merry and sing, sort of walking out the restaurant, sort of crawling out the restaurant back to the campsite. It's a really, really good way to end the whole sort of the week or so that we're up there. So I'd really recommend that place. I think it's brilliant. It's lovely food.
When we're in Buxton, there's lots of places we like to go and eat and drink. Coda Vinyl for brunch, really good food there to set you up for the day. And we love San Moritz Italian restaurant too. Drinks. And
yeah, so many good pubs. Top 3, I guess, would be the Tap Room, I think it is, the Tap House. Red Willow, which is really cool, and
if you like your gin,
and then Monk Cocktail Bar is the winner. Easy.
Monk is a must.
Yeah.
There are lots of places to go out for food and drink in Buxton, which, as a company at Sudden Impulse, really kind of plays into our hands a bit. We love all the local drinking establishments and take advantage of all their eateries, but what really stands out for me is one day in particular where we kind of had a day off. There was no performances for our company at all. So we decided to take advantage of some of the local watering holes, if you like, and went on a bit of a wander, where we ended up in the Queen's Head pub. And we immediately took over the pool section, the pool table section, and in fact their karaoke machine, and spent many hours in there having a great laugh with a huge group of us. Now, to most people, that would look like we're generally making a bit of a nuisance of ourselves, but what really pleased us was the way that we were embraced by the locals there. They joined in, they sang with us, they even gave us a bit of a round of applause as we left, and that says a lot about the Buxton community. These weren't performers, these weren't tourists, there were people embracing the people coming into their town for the festival, and I think that's what makes it so special up there.
In 2019, we celebrated the 200th anniversary of the Victorian novelist George Eliot, who was born in our hometown of Nuneaton. And of course, the 200th anniversary is a very, very special occasion, and we wanted to mark it with something that was fitting. Now, we'd already worked in the past with the George Eliot Fellowship. We've done some workshops with them, and in 2016 they sponsored a production of Felix Holt the Radical that we created and took up to the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, and they sponsored that event. Felix Holt, the adaptation was written by Viv Wood, and last year, 2019, we again took a Viv Wood adaptation of one of her short stories, Mr. Gilfield's Love Story, and performed it outside in the summer. In fact, we performed it in the grounds of Arbury Hall, which is the very hall, the very setting that the story takes place. George Eliot's father was estate manager at the hall when she was just a little girl growing up, so a place that she would know very well. However, in November of 2019, we took on possibly our biggest and most ambitious project to date. We decided that we would create a full-scale, brand new musical out of one of Eliot's novels, and that was Silas Marner, the musical. I chose Silas Marner for a number of reasons. I think it's the most accessible of Eliot's work, and also it has a happy ending, which, if you know Eliot's work, is quite rare. So it was accessible, it had a happy, sort of uplifting ending, which kind of made it perfect, I thought, for a musical adaptation. Now, Eliot's work can be very wordy, very descriptive, so I think I read the novel, a dozen, 20 times, whatever, over the previous year, and started to adapt the script. And what you find straight away is that although her descriptions can be very heavy, she is extremely witty, and her dialogue is very sharp, very observational, and very, very funny. So I think a lot of the dialogue that ended up in the writing was actually lifted straight from the page of Eliot, and then the descriptions were the things that we put visually in. It was extremely ambitious. We had a full libretto of songs created by Sam Thomas, who had previously worked with us on the pantomimes, but pantomimes were more of a departure to Sam's work. I think he was much more at home with the emotional depth, and we've got a cracking score, an absolutely cracking score. We had to create the set from scratch. It had to move from different place to different place. We wanted a lot of people involved in it, and we could not have done it without being successful in getting an Arts Council grant to develop not just this project, but Mr. Gilfield as well. And to produce something of that scale is an awful lot of work from an awful lot of people.
There were lots of challenges when it came to choreographing a new musical. The first one being that there was no pre-planning. I didn't have an album that I could be listening to for months in advance when I knew that I was going to be choreographing it, and sort of start putting pieces together and coming up with ideas. The first time I heard the music was when we were learning it in the rehearsal room. So we would have to make sure as a cast we got that song learned, or however many songs learnt, to well enough for me to be able to get a recording, take that home and work really, really hard and intensely at home to make sure that I had a pretty much done, well thought through, solid plan and a solid routine that I could then take back 3 or 4 days later for the dance rehearsal.
Don't always appear in front of your eyes. Sometimes blessings take their time and come in disguise. But rest assured that doubt, blessings are all around, waiting to be found. More than you know. Everywhere you go, even here in Ravenna.
We were really fortunate with Silas to have the amazing Mr. Sam Thomas writing all of our music and lyrics for the show. He writes all of our panto stuff. But it was really fun to get to see a different side of Sam's writing, because obviously his panto music is so brilliant, but when you're writing for a family-friendly, fun, children's aimed at, panto, the music's going to be very, very different to a big dramatic full-scale musical. So it was really fun for us to get to experience the different side of that, and I hope it was a fun and a new challenge for Sam, because he has written musicals, but I'm not sure he's ever written that style. Yeah, so I think that was probably a good challenge for him, as well as us being able to learn it, because he wrote, one minute he'd write the most beautiful sort of Les Mis-esque ballad, and then the next minute we'd be learning this really intricate, crazy, fast, Sondheim-esque choral number, and then there was everything in between. So it was really, really good fun to be able to see what Sam did with the music and how he brought that side of the show to life.
Maybe he did it himself and his face was sick and twisted pleasure of playing the poor and misfortune of mice who up and lost his treasure. With that we beg the question, what's his master plan? Or is he just trying to brew up the biggest storm he can? I say, that's what's happened here. Going on all the evidence is clear what's transpired. A horde of soulless thugs and thieves must have conspired. Their eyes are empty, their hearts are cold, so they had no qualms taking Marner's well and gold. I say, that's what's happened here. What is the peddler? He certainly seems the type. What mention of his presence and just look at the hype. I say, that's what's happened here. But what about the tinderbox? Don't forget the tinderbox. We can't forget the tinderbox. Maybe not all the evidence is clear what's transpired. A horde of soulless thugs and thieves must have conspired. Their eyes are empty, their hearts are cold, so they had no qualms taking Marner's well and gold. I say, that's what's happened here.
So I was an ensemble member for most of Act 1, and then right towards the end of Act 1 I played Molly Farron. So a little bit about Molly. She is secretly married to Godfrey. So they got married and had a child, probably not in that order, and he's basically abandoned them and has left them in poverty. Molly in the book is an opium addict, starving, just got absolutely nothing going for her, bless her. And she's got a little girl who's about 4 years old, who we had two little girls playing Epi. Yeah, she's called Epi. They are both students in Sudden Impulse Theatre Academy, Amelia and Isabel. They're absolutely gorgeous, and it was really fun for me as their singing and dance teacher to get to then be on stage with them. So that was so lovely, and they stole the show. They were gorgeous. So yes, Molly is not well, but she is on her way with Epi to confront Godfrey and say, this isn't good enough. We're your family. You've neglected us for too long. It's time for you to, step up. And also, tell the rest of his family that he's been keeping a dirty secret from them. And I got to sing the most beautiful ballad. Thank you, Sam. I love that song so much. But then, unfortunately, spoilers for anyone that wanted to read the book, Molly dies. So, big song, dramatic death. What more do you want? So that was me done for Act 1. Then in Act 2, I had a quick transformation into Epi. So 16 years has passed. So obviously Epi has grown up. So I played Epi too, which, made sense. It's just, she looks like a mum with blonde hair, nice blonde wig. So that was really good fun. I'll just pause for a second just to say, talk about the physical transformation, because this was good fun as well, and I think it's important to mention Beth. So we were super lucky that our friend Beth, who has just finished her degree in like makeup and hair design and wig making and all of that side of theatre, happened to have a couple of weeks off of uni at the time of Silas. So I sent her a message and said, any chance you want to come and work for us for a couple of weeks? Gave her the show spec and what we needed doing, and she said, absolutely, I'm there. So she had to do lots of makeup, she did lots of aging up, like I said, 16 years passes, so in the interval she was quickly aging people who needed to be aged. She was sorting out wigs and doing people's hair, but she got to have a lot of fun with my makeup because, as I said, Molly is very ill, opium addict, so she made me look terrible. But then I had a mad dash to get from Molly, so scraggly hair pieces out. Beth then quickly plaited my hair, put my wig on, all the makeup off, nice normal makeup on, ready for the opening of Act 2, where I get to Eppie. And Eppie is a completely different character, so she's taken in by Silas, she's so loved by him, she's so well taken care of, they're part of the community, so it's a completely different dynamic. And again, I got another beautiful song, and there's a big dramatic twist in the storyline, which I won't tell you about, because I'm sure I'm making you really want to go and read the book. So yeah, that was my show track.
One more time. Let's dance round in circles until the church bells chime. So the world goes round and we all end up in the ground. All that matters is making the best of the time we've got. So let's sing hallelujah as two lovers tie the knot. Let's hear it for the lovers. Let's hear it for the lovers. One more time.
We hope you enjoyed looking at that little insight into some of the things that we get up to during the year when we're not at Buxton. And if you did, then there's more available. Check out our YouTube channel. The link is on the Buxton Festival Fringe website, and you'll find there are several more episodes to have a look at. Now, we know that this is a difficult time for every single person in the arts world, and in common with so many, we don't get any funding other than our box office and our ticket sales, and of course that has now totally dried up. If you do feel that you are able to give a donation of any sort, then it would be much appreciated, and it will help us continue our valuable work. The link to our GoFundMe page is available on the Buxton Festival Fringe website next to our entry. It's also available on our own website, www.suddenimpulse.co.uk, when you can find many other things that we get up to and our show archive. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again soon outside the old clubhouse, enjoying a pint in the sunshine, July 2021. Thank you.